Who's ready for another top tier masterclass on how to cheese sectors in Conquest? That's right, Jocasta Nu Conquest Sector 5, the last one that we have to do. And your boy Scribble's got the answers so you can keep Jocasta Nu out of the proving grounds. Let's break it down. Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You can see that beautiful red box just chilling down there. It's been a bit of a journey, an easy conquest if I do say so myself. I imagine I could have done this in about 2 days if it wasn't for all the videos. But hey ho, let's do this. The sector feats here are really not so bad. We need to attempt to inflict evasion down 50 times, which we can cheese in one battle. We can defeat 35 enemies with Phoenix units, but also 35 units with Jedi Knight Cal Kestis. So that's not realistically too bad. If you go into a fight against a standard 5-man team and you defeat everyone, those should be done in like 7 battles, right? You can shorten it if you have certain teams available to you, or if you go against teams that have either got revives or have got summonable units, or like Imperial Troopers, Geonosians. Mon Mothma is really ideal. I didn't have any since Sector 2 though. And then finally, we need to win 10 battles with both Shin and Marrok in your squad. Now, you can pair this up and get some Phoenix kills with Shin and Marrok, or you can get Jedi Knight Cal Kestis kills, or both. So as you're progressing, you are slowly chipping away, which is something that I do advise, but that's nonetheless. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out the mid-sector boss. It is a Gas 501st team, and it's actually really nasty. We need to defeat an enemy with Ezra Exile. That's really not so bad. I haven't done it because I don't need to. We need to do Hokey Religions, which is win the battle without using any Jedi, Sith, or unaligned Force users. Also, not so bad, although GG does get his stuff rocked in this, so I don't advise GG. And then right at the end, we have got the Sector 5 boss node against Keller and Beck, and Jocasta Nu in a very cool new attack background, which is in the library, and it's awesome. It's actually really cool. She's actually insane, dude. All right. We need to win with Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano. Not many people will be able to get this done. Suffice it to say, it's piece of cake, guys. If you've got GL Ahsoka Tano in there on auto, you got it done. All right, and then you need to win without using a Galactic Legend. Also, ridiculously easy. Loads of squads that can do that. But Jocasta Nu, like I said, she is a bit of a tough cookie. When it comes to data discs, I'm usually using some variant of Weak Point, Quickening. Maybe I'm using Undercover. Sometimes I might be using stuff like Voluntary Vanguard, lots of Ruthless Swiftness, Voluntary Vanguard, Quickening, Spirited Speed, that sort of thing. I like lots of data discs for speed, lots of things that are going to give me additional turn meter, and maybe Voluntary Vanguard. I sometimes use it, sometimes don't, depending on the battles and the situation. Before we begin, I do highly recommend that you keep an eye out for this particular team, a Newt Gunray team with Droideka and preferably GBA. This one here is pretty good for the old Cheeserama. Of course, if you've watched my previous videos, you will know the value of having a Droideka on the enemy team. Even better if they've got Jango Fett. It's much easier with Jango Fett, but not the end of the world if you do not have Jango Fett. Droideka is all you really need. We just need a nice little setup there to get a Droideka into damage immunity to cheese out some feats. Let's start off with that, shall we? So, you know the setup over here. I'm going in with a full CLS squad. The reason we're using full CLS here is because Chupio applies evasion down on a basic. So you know how this is going to go. If you've watched any of my other Conquest Cheese videos, you'll know that all we're trying to do is get that Droideka into damage immunity, which he seems to do every time in this particular setup as his first move, and then we just wail on him with auto basics. So there we go, he's in damage immunity. We're pretty much just going to go auto basic from here. However, I'm just taking out the ads so that we don't have to worry about anybody else slowing us down. Get to this point, auto basic. Droideka should never take a turn again. All right, we've got the tenacity down, counteracting his tenacity up, then CLS's basic and Han's basic and C-3PO's basic all have a chance to remove turn meter depending on, you know, different amounts and how much turn meter that our enemy Droideka has. Not only that, we've also got, like I said, that evasion down coming out of Chupio's basic. Every single time we try to do that, he's going to attempt to inflict that evasion down. You can just leave this on auto basic for 3-4 minutes once you've got the setup, come back, finish it off, because you've got a number of moves here that will remove that damage immunity from Droideka, either CLS's first special, or Chewbacca's first special, or Chupio's first special. All of them will dispel buffs, and then you can just finish off the Droideka and move along your merry way. It's a pretty nice setup. I've also done a very similar setup using JML and Old Ben. Old Ben also does Evasion Down on his basic. Under a JML leadership, we can of course place Tenacity down on that droidica to keep him nice and cool, but also we've got constant sources of turn meter reduction and calls to assist on Old Ben. So we can always use the inherited teachings on Old Ben. I've also got 2 Phoenix units here. I've got Kanan, Jairus, and I've got Ezra here. So we can actually kill the summoned unit with those to get some additional kills with those units as well. It doesn't really last very long because we can't really control droidica for the entire time, so it means that you do eventually have to kill off the ads permanently, but this will give you just a couple of extra kills, either with Phoenix units if you bring them in, or if you take in Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, you can get a couple of additional units whilst also still getting that evasion down. The principle is exactly the same though, ladies and gentlemen. That basic from Old Ben puts evasion down. You can try to strip and, put ability blocks and stuff like that, but until you do that first hand wave with JML, you're not going to have the tenacity down on droidica. So it's not as easy, in my opinion, as the CLS setup, but of course this one does give you additional sources of kills for the Phoenix, and it's a little bit hairy here for a moment with JML. He's looking a little bit peaky, but that's why we've got Hermit Yoda. Just heal him up. You could also throw in someone like Wat Tambor instead, put the tank tech on JML. That will help him survive just a little bit further. As you can see, just call in the Phoenix or Jedi Knight Cal Kestis on the summoned unit, and that will defeat them. And you can take advantage of droidica being in damage immunity, put that tenacity down on there, and you've got a small amount of sources of TMR as well. Alright, but that's kind of it, guys. I just wanted to go over a few things here. Like I said, you can swap in Jedi Knight Cal Kestis here as well. Now, as I was progressing through the zones, I did decide to do some funky stuff, like using my Baylan with Shin and Marrok. I threw in Zam Wessel here, because her second special actually has an AoE evasion down. So I thought, if I'm clearing through the sector using something like Baylan's Skull, getting Shin and Marrok in as the sector feats, taking Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, he is a mercenary and so is Zam, so this is a full mercenary team right now. I thought, I can knock out a couple of feats in one, right? I can get the battles with Shin, Hattie, and Marrok, I can get kills with Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, and I can get some evasion down as I progress. Now, this didn't work out great because my Zam is not really well modded at all, but I thought it would just be a bit of fun to do as I'm going through the sectors. It's one of those things that I find helps make your conquest life easier, is as you are progressing through the sector, try to be knocking off as many feats as you possibly can, and preferably with multiple feats getting done at once. So as you can see, Shin has also got a call to assist, so I'm getting additional kills with Jedi Knight Cal. I also did a very similar sort of thing just by throwing in JML with Jedi Knight Cal, still keeping the rest, so I've still got like evasion down, AoEs, I've got kills with Cal here, and I'm still getting the Shin and the Marrok thing. I wouldn't necessarily try and shoehorn Shin and Marrok into teams with too much split and separate diversity and sort of synergy, because you'll end up sacrificing your stars as you progress through the sector, but I just thought this is a decent way of just trying to get a few of them done as we progress. You'll see Cal here will do his swap ability, and that will essentially, when you're outside of the the dual saber stance, and you go into the double saber stance, you will do an AoE, and with weak point and weak spot, that does actually do pretty good damage, so you should get multiple kills that way. Always using Shin's basic on Cal Kestis to get him some additional kills. There we go, we just land the old whirlwind slam there, get 21k. So it's not a bad way of doing it, not perfect, obviously. As I was progressing, I was just moving through a couple of different teams here, CLS with Han and Chewie, or CLS Han and Chewpio, so we've got still sources of that evasion down. Still pretty decent, even against tough teams like the Mandalorians over here. That Candrus Ordo can be a real pain because he has got so much turn meter generation. However, if you've got a strong data disk setup, which by the time you're in Sector 5, your data disk setup should be pretty much ideal. The damage output you should be putting now is pretty high tier, I would say. Obviously, if your Shin and Marrok are not particularly geared, you can't really get away with using a weaker team like this. You'd have to stick to using Galactic Legends if they are low gear. Note, they don't have to survive, but you still need to win the battle. Now, don't forget, in this modern day and age, Phoenix is still actually a pretty good team. Now, obviously, mine has got far too many Relic 9s than is reasonable, but you can take in Phoenix and they can just win battles straight up. and mostly on full auto as well. If you've got well-geared and well-modded Phoenix, it is actually not so bad. Captain Rex has really elevated the capabilities of this team. In my opinion, the ideal setup is with Kanan, Chopper, and Sabine Wren. Obviously, under Hera Lead, she is the only leader for the Phoenix, really. It's a pretty good team. It's a pretty good team. You can all the mass assists play really well into the weak point data disc, and if you've got something like the Mastery attack out of turn 1, that was also really, really good for any team that does a lot of mass assists. So I do recommend, as you're progressing, just to try and get a couple of kills in. In ideal situations, you'll be going up against teams like Geonosians, Mon Mothmas, even Imperial Troopers, if you can survive the battle, are really good for kills. You'll get 8 kills if you go against Imperial Troopers. As we can see here, this is one of the very last nodes in the sector. I just took in JML, taking 1 Phoenix, 1 Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, just the one. I like to daze Piet at the start, because if you don't daze Piet at the start, he's going to generate so much turn meter and call a lot of people to assist. It's a bad idea if you don't daze him. After that, we just kind of want to have some fun, call people in to assist, get those kills with either one of your Phoenix characters. Doesn't even have to be a Jedi, it just helps. Or with Cal Kestis, because both of them need to get kills in this sector. 35. If you go up against these Imperial Troopers, like I said, that is 8 kills per battle if you get every single kill with either a Phoenix or a Jedi Knight Cal Kestis. So it's the quicker way of sort of getting these feats done. Instead of having to rely on like 7 battles, you will be able to get it done in, say, 5. So looking back now at the mid-sector boss, it is a Gas 501st team, and we need to win without using Jedi, Sith, or Unaligned Force users. Highly recommend, if you've got Jabba the Hutt, use Jabba the Hutt here. I did not have much success using my standard one, which would be General Grievous here, because gas just destroys General Grievous. However, I did have success using a Scoundrel team here, so I've decided to go in with a Bam-Chewie team, and I threw in L3 because you really need somebody to tank the absolute monstrous damage that gas will put out. Do recommend, if you do have it, just use something like Jabba the Hutt, alright? You need to have something strong here to survive the oncoming damage that you get from gas. Alright, I like this team because it puts out a lot of irresistible debuffs and has lots and lots of potential for ramping massive amounts of damage. So take out 5s first, so you don't want to trigger that sacrifice and get those clones to turn into super clones. I went into Whistling Bird stance here in the hope that when gas stands up, we will do a big chunk of damage to him. Currently at 8 Whistling Birds, I think we get up to about 15 or so. I might be wrong on that. 14 right now, let's see. I think that should count as 15. No, 13. Almost 14. 15. Hey, we did get to 15. I was right. And that should see off gas. Provided you got a decent BAM, this is a pretty solid team to be using. So let's try and use this for the Ezra kills. I don't need this feat, but we're going to go with it. Ezra is a little bit of a tricky customer if you don't have a Spectre team, because he does start exiled, which means you can't call him to assist. So even things like JML struggle. That being said, if you've got a GL like Rey, she will do phenomenally well, I am sure. Alright, okay, so we've got our Voluntary Vanguard going off on our Ezra here. That's okay, he is a Relic 9 character. I'm completely acceptable with that. We're going to pass it over to Luke here, and then we're going to get the stun just to lower their stats. I'm going to go ahead and place Master's Training on Ezra. I know I can't call him to assist. The reason I wanted to do that is because I want to, at all cases, try to increase his survivability as much as possible. I'm going to pass my turns to Jedi Knight Luke all the time because I want to cycle through his ability to stun the enemy team and reduce their max health with his repulse ability. Let's do a mass assist on gas, try and get gas to sit down quickly. It's always a bit of a ticking time bomb against gas, because the more buffs that you gain throughout the battle, the more damage that gas is going to be doing. He does ramp that offense for every buff that you get. You can see he's doing crazy, crazy good damage already. I'm going to save the big hit from Ezra, because that big hit, is probably our source of, oh, we can get a kill here. So let's see, how far away is my Ezra? My Ezra is quite a long distance away from getting a turn, so I'm actually going to get a target over here on Rex, so I can save some of that damage from going on to gas right about now. Probably shouldn't have got that retribution going either. Let's see if I can pass the turn over to Ezra. I'm trying to get Ezra out of his exile as quickly as possible. Alright, let's see if we can drop gas here. Wonderful, we did drop gas. And yeah, I guess we're going to have to do a basic over here. Just do a basic here. Basic is definitely going to kill him. That's unfortunate timing, and Ezra is looking a little bit peaky here. Let's just do a direct focus on gas. I want to try and get gas to sit down because I can see Ezra is nearly about to take another turn. Oh, he's lost his exile? Is he about to lose his exile? Yeah, he's on 50 Purgle migration. So we'll actually get we'll get Gas to sit down now. Not Gas to sit down, sorry. We'll get Gas to be exiled. He won't be exiled for long, though, because as soon as he sits down and stands back up, he'll be done. So now we can call Ezra to assist, so it makes it a little bit easier for us. Alright, so we're going to use this big hit and hopefully defeat Echo. There we go. We got our kill with him. We've also got a call to assist here. There we are. And nothing from Gas. You see Gas has lost that exile already. Interesting mechanics with Gas is when he sits down and stands back up, he removes even locked debuffs, even permanent debuffs that are supposed to be there. They're just as if they never happened. But there we go. You can get Ezra kills with a straight up Jedi team. Obviously that's going to be a little bit harder if you do not have any gear on your Ezra and no relic levels, but it is certainly possible all the same. Let's take a look at the sector boss feat then. The end sector boss is Keller and Beck with Jocasta Nu. It's actually a really cool fight. I really like it, and Jocasta Nu is pretty wild, to be honest. What do we need? We need to win GL Ahsoka Tano. I'm not going to show you that one, guys. If you got GL Ahsoka Tano, you shouldn't need any help here. And win without using a Galactic Legend. The first team that came to mind for me is I need to get global wins with Night Sisters, so I figured I would just take in Great Mothers. And I thought, yep, let's just doom Jocasta Nu. See what I mean about this battle arena, by the way? This is one of the coolest looking battle arenas I've seen. I really like the Jedi Archives. I think it's a really, really neat spot. But look how quickly they chewed through my Morgan Elsbeth. That was ridiculously quick. I was like, I say what now? Hold up. Hold up? She defeated me so quickly. And you can see she's got a lot of health. We're like barely even scratching her. And I know they do have Barriss in this team, and Barriss is sort of keeping her alive all the same. But all the same, she's just taking an absolute beating over here and deals out a lot of damage herself. Thankfully, we do know that Great Mothers will be sapping away her max health very, very quickly every time we use a basic, and every time that the blessed ally uses an attack on her, she is going to be losing that max health. But it still took a surprising amount of time to get through her. I chose then to go after Barriss Offee. She can't be revived or anything like that, so it's all good business here, and just go from there. Now, obviously, not everybody is going to have the Great Mothers. Not everybody's going to have that powerful of a team, so I will show you another option here. I just thought this was a good way of double dipping on global feats for Night Sister victories, whilst also getting the battle done without using a Galactic Legend. Alrighty, so if you don't have Great Mothers, use Traya. Traya is really, really phenomenal against Jedi in general, and especially against Jedi that have a lot of mass assists. Now, I'm using Sith Empire with my Traya because, in my opinion, they're just the best non-GL Sith outside of Bane, and I don't think Bane would do particularly well here. So, again, I'm going to focus on Jocasta Nu out the gate. I do feel like... Oh, she takes reduced damage from percentile health effects. I do feel like she's probably the biggest threat. So let's just keep going around here. Of course, she's just going to resist everything. Let's also isolate Jocasta Nu right about now. And I think we're going to switch things up, and we're going to go for Barriss first. And I'm just going to use Nihilus's Annihilate on Jocasta Nu to keep her nice and controlled and pretty much dead, I guess would be the way. I'm not going to get rid of that fear that we can see on Jocasta Nu right now. I don't think that would be in my interests. So let's just keep going over here, wait for Nihilus to get another turn. Once he's gotten another turn, we should be able to get rid of her pretty lickety-split. The good thing about having Barriss in this team is it's feeding me so much turn meter through that Ruthless Swiftness. Alright, we'll just annihilate Jocasta Nu here, and let's see how we go. I could get the shock over there on Barriss, that would be quite useful. Stop her recovering just a little bit, and stop her from gaining bonus turn meter. There we go, everybody's shocked. Let's see, can we get a stun on Shaq T? Absolutely. A big old sucky suck out of our boy Nihilus. And I imagine we can probably put this on full auto from here. So let's go ahead and do that. Revan not having any issues there, dealing some supreme damage. Even Nihilus with the 26k. I don't know why you're focusing on Keller and Beck right now, guys. It's probably not the best person to be focusing on, but hey, whoever claimed that the AI in the game is the smartest sausage in the box. Not too bad. As you can see with the Traya team, does pretty well against a lot of things, truth be told. We were never really in any danger of dying there. Just isolate that Jocasta Nu and get round to your Annihilate. That will get you your win without using a Galactic Legend, and also 3 stars for this particular tier. Not too bad at all. Okay then, ladies and gentlemen, let us have a recap. What I would recommend is that you use standard data discs here, lots of Ruthless Swiftness, lots of Quickening, and of course Weak Spot or Weak Point to ramp your damage. If you would like to cheese out the accuracy down feat, try and find yourself a Newt Gunray Droidica team, preferably one with GBA. You can also cheese out some kills with the Phoenix if you use Jedi, so go in with JML, a Phoenix, Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, and still use stuff like Obi-Wan. Alternatively, just full CLS, get Droidica into damage immunity and put it on auto basic. You will need to have fast teams, lots of quickening, and you will need to make sure that you've got decent modding on that team in general. As you are progressing through the zone, try and find a couple of teams that you can throw in Shin and Marrok into the team, preferably with a little bit of support that can help you get the evasion downs. Full mercenary teams with Bale and Skull throwing in Zam Wessel for AoE evasion downs. Alternatively, if you've got good investment in their gear, you can use a standard CLS team. That way you get some evasion downs as well. If you can, find yourself a node with Mon Mothma. Okay, Mon Mothma with Chirrut, because Chirrut will place that heal over time onto Xaereth Rebel Pathfinder. Doing that will let you do things like this. Go with your Phoenix team. You can essentially get rid of most of the ads, leave Chirrut alive, and then go auto basic on that Xaereth Rebel Pathfinder. Provided he gets crit, he's going to get a heal over time from Chirrut. That heal over time will in turn let the Xaereth Rebel Pathfinder revive, and you'll just be able to farm up your kills with your Phoenix, or alternatively with your Jedi Knight Cal Kestis. Now, it does require a little bit of manual play just to get rid of some of the ads. People like Baze, people like Bistan in particular can be a little bit annoying, so I find getting rid of them and then focusing back on Xaereth Rebel Pathfinder will let you net like 15 to 20 plus kills per round. I was unfortunate enough not to find a single Great Mother's Mon Mothma node since Sector 2. I didn't have any in Sector 3, none in Sector 4, none in Sector 5. So this isn't in Sector 5 right now. This is only in Sector 2. But I'm trying to show you the principle of how you could get it done. You can do the same approach then with Jedi Knight Cal Kestis. And then if you want to finish it off, put it on full auto. The mid-sector boss going in against Gas over here, it is a little bit tricky. He's got a lot of damage output. If you want to get wins with Ezra Exile, try going in with a Jedi Knight Revan comp with Jedi Knight Luke. Just try and focus them down, get Ezra out of exile so he can actually get called to assist, and save that big triple hit, his second special, for when there's an exposed clone ally. Alright, he will be able to get that one hit kill, and that's all you really need. When you're going in for the Ufus, do not use General Grievous, he'll get destroyed. If you've got Jabba the Hutt, he will dominate here. If not, you can go in with a BAM team, ladies and gentlemen. BAM is actually pretty good in terms of Ufus, or not Ufus, sorry, in terms of scoundrels not using any of the Jedi, Sith, or Unaligned Force users. Things like BAM with Dash, Han, Chewie, that sort of thing, is usually pretty good damage output and survivability. Make sure you take in a big chunky tank. I used L3. At the end, we're going up against Keller and Beck with Jocasta Nu. If you want to win without using a Galactic Legend, I found Treya to be a very, very reliable way of getting it done. I imagine a standard Sith Empire would also work quite well. Just focus down on Jocasta Nu, take her out, and then it's easy from there. Very, very cool fight. And then Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano, getting a win with her. Hit auto. And that's going to about do it. That is sectors 1 through 5, all done and dusted for you with the best cheeses that I could find at the time, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know if I missed anything in the comments down below, and make sure if you haven't already, check out my earlier sectors. I've got all those feats covered for you. I will be doing a global feats video as well coming shortly. I will see you all in the very next video. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.